Most people believe that sexual abstinence implies weakness, yet for a chosen one, it is the polar opposite. What if I told you that when you go without sex, your vitality does not diminish? It multiplies. What if you feel lonely late at night? Strange dreams disturb your sleep. The abrupt waves of heat surging through your body are not random, but rather the result of a holy metamorphosis that only a few people on this planet will ever fully comprehend. You were not made to squander energy the way the rest of the world does. You were designed to bear a mantle of authority that necessitates discipline, isolation, and fire. Every moment you resist the attraction of the body, something unseen is being created within you. You're not losing anything. You are getting access to dimensions that others will never experience. The tightness in your chest, the vibration in your spine, and the images that seem too real to be dreams are all signs from heaven that you are entering a new spiritual dimension. Here's the forbidden truth. The world will never tell you this, because if every chosen one discovered the secret hidden behind abstinence, the entire system of control would crumble. Stay here, because in the next few minutes, I will expose secrets about your sexual energy that 99% of people are not prepared to hear. But if you've made it this far, it's because your soul is ready to receive them. Before we proceed, I need you to hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment with the number 99 underneath. Why 99? Because in the spirit, it implies that nothing is missing. You are already complete, and what God initiated in you, He'll finish. This comment is more than just an interaction. It expresses your spiritual affinity. When the chosen one begins abstinence, the world believes your desire lessens, your drive weakens, and something within you dies. But that is the greatest illusion. Nothing is dying inside you. In truth, something considerably more powerful is being created. You have sexual vitality, the basic fire that mankind has relied on for pleasure, impulse, and transient fulfillment begins to alter. Form inside the vessel. It does not evaporate into nothing. It is not repressed to silence. It was redirected. It rises like a stream of fire traveling up your spine, as if invisible hands guide it to higher levels of your essence. This is not imagination. This isn't a psychological trick. This is transmutation, the unusual process by which what used to belong to the flesh is transformed into pure spiritual fuel. At first, it appears perplexing. You may feel heat in your back, around the base of your spine, throbbing as if something old has woken. Your body shakes. Your heart raced for no apparent cause. Your skin seems alive, buzzing and vibrating, as if electricity is rushing through it. These aren't diseases. These aren't random nerves. These are the codes of awareness, the clear signals that God is rewiring you for something spectacular, while the rest of the world devotes their focus to transient pleasures. Yours is being kept, increased, and converted into a holy energy that few can contain. It's as if heaven is gathering what others discard and pouring it back into your spirit, as in a focused fire. And with this fire, you begin to awaken latent centers of power that have been locked up since the day you were born, and they shine like coals obtaining oxygen. Your perception sharpens your emotions and increases your awareness of both the visible and invisible worlds. You begin to feel more awake, present, and connected to forces you cannot yet identify. This is the start of your metamorphoses, and once it starts, there's no turning back. But let me tell you, this is not a pleasant procedure. The fires of transformation do not touch you. They burn you into rejuvenation. Old habits become uncomfortable. Old desires feel hollow. Old relationships loosen their grasp. You may feel alienated, misunderstood, or even assaulted by individuals who are unable to perceive the shift occurring within you. They will not notice the burning growing in your spine. They will not detect the heavenly electricity in your veins. To them, you may appear restless, preoccupied, or even odd. The reality is they are seeing the birth of someone entirely new. The reason this feels so strong is that you are experiencing the same principle that powers stars. This law underpins everything of existence. Nothing was ruined. Everything has been modified. Your abstinence is not void. It's an alchemy. And this alchemy prepares you for authority, clarity, and supernatural alignment. This is why the selected ones are set aside, while others succumb to instinct. You are called to mastery where others have wasted. You're polished where others break. You are recreated as a tool of divine will. And thus lays the world's fearful enigma. Once your energy has been transmuted, it is no longer yours alone. It belongs in paradise. It becomes a weapon against the darkness, a barrier against attackers, a burning that cannot be quenched by desire or temptation. What was formerly wrapped up in the flesh now belongs to the spirit. And this transformation is the start of your actual calling. But if this is only the beginning, what will happen as the fire spreads? When it touches the innermost recesses of the mind and spirit, that's where the actual explosions happen. And that's what I'll reveal next. Do not move, for what follows will explain the visions, telepathic moments, and prophetic indications you may already be receiving without realizing. The fire has only just begun to spread, and its ultimate destination will undermine the entire basis of who you feel you are. When the fire of transmuted energy starts to burn, it doesn't move silently. It rises like a storm, mounting a mountain, pounding against every closed door in your inner self until they break open. The sexual energy that was previously contained in the lower areas of the body is no longer satisfied to remain concealed. It wants upward mobility, and as it collides with your energy centers, it causes bursts of consciousness. These are not minor sparkles. They are consciousness detonations that shake the foundations of your being. Suddenly, you are not only awake, you have awoke. The initial symptom is usually a pulsating feeling in the region between your brows, as if an invisible finger is knocking from the inside of your forehead. This is your third eye, activating, getting your attention. Prophetic dreams become bright and sharper than reality itself. So clear that when you wake up, you feel like you've never left them. These dreams are not random. These are messages, instructions, glimpses of time. You are being prepped to step inside. Many people disregard them, dismissing them as delusions. However, a chosen one understands that every vision and word spoken in that dream state is a seed of insight sown by God Himself. However, the images do not wait for the night. They occur in broad daylight when strolling, eating, or conversing with someone. You begin to see flashes, shards of the future, and details of events that have not yet occurred. You may suddenly know what someone is about to say before they say it, or you may feel the weight of their concealed feelings without saying anything. You start thinking about someone, and then they call, message, or arrive. These synchronicities are not coincidental. They form the fabric of reality, bending to your frequency. You are no longer restricted by the illusion of randomness. You have entered into agreement with a heavenly design that governs all things. And as your frequency changes, so does your effect. Strangers begin to open up to you without explaining why. They reveal secrets they have never told anyone else. They see you and feel something otherworldly, a presence that disarms them and draws truth from their mouths as if they were speaking to a priest or perhaps God Himself. Animals, children, and even nature react differently to your frequency in relation to the current that flows through you. Every part of existence begins whispering messages. Numbers appear repeatedly on clocks, receipts, and license plates. Everything is aligning with strange precision. The cosmos no longer remains silent around you. It has transformed into an orchestra, with you at the heart of the music. However, these gifts bring a new threat. The border between vision and reality starts to blur. You wonder if what you saw was a dream or a recollection of the future. You worry whether you're losing your mind. But deep inside, you understand the truth. It is not craziness. It is an expansion. Your brain, neurological system, and soul are being rewired to transport frequencies that are higher than what this planet ordinarily permits. The fire that ignited in your body is now blazing through the limits of perception, giving you vision that others cannot comprehend. This is why many people dread you. They don't comprehend why your sight bothers them. Why do your comments have weight and touch their conscience? They sense that you see behind the masks, beyond the flesh, beyond the concept of time, and they are correct. You do. Your intuition is no longer whispering. When you detect danger, it roars confidently. It manifests when you recognize an opportunity. It displays whenever you declare a route. The doors open. Reality bends because your vibration requires it. But here's the riddle that will really shock you up. The larger these blasts of consciousness get, the less you fit within the old world. Friends will fade. Routines will collapse. Even the beat of your own thoughts will change. You're not simply surviving anymore. You are vibrating in the same current that prophets, saints, and seers previously did. And this current cannot be stopped. It increases. It becomes more intense. It absorbs everything. False. Until just the truth remains. The question is, what happens when this fire reaches its peak? When the energy not only broadens your awareness, but also begins to test your soul at its core. That is the next level, and it will explain why many selected ones fail under pressure while a few rise to power. Stay close, because what follows will not only explain your peculiar fights, but will also reveal the ultimate test you are already facing without recognizing it. Every chosen soul who bears divine fire must go through the furnace of hardship, because God never releases genuine power without first testing the vessel that will store it. And for the chosen ones, the greatest test does not come on a battlefield of swords or in the roar of spectators. It manifests itself via quiet and abstinence in the raw area, where body calls out for gratification and spirit asks restraint. When sexual abstinence is extended, it becomes more than just a physical choice. It becomes the ultimate test of the soul. It starts gently. At first, you think you can manage it. You feel stronger, cleaner, and more focused. But then, it happens unexpectedly. Shadows from your past reappear. A voice you haven't heard in years unexpectedly sends you a message. Someone who previously piqued your interest reappears, clothed in temptation, and offers themselves with timing too perfect to be coincidence. These aren't random encounters. These are heavenly exams. They are spiritual X-rays that reveal if you are prepared to control your nature or if your nature still rules you. The trial deepens, revealing prospects for weakness rather than advancement. Strangers start to observe you with uncommon intensity. Invitations that were previously uncommon now appear virtually regularly. You're wondering why all of this is occurring right now? When I dedicated to purity. And herein lays the hidden reality. Your abstinence is not invisible. It is a spiritual smell. It sends a signal into the unseen realm, which both heaven and hell can detect. Heaven is watching. To test your discipline, evil waits to see whether you can be enticed back into bonds. And while external temptations press upon you, the internal conflict intensifies. Your own thinking starts to betray you. Thoughts rise like storms. Why are you doing this? What is the point? Everybody else is free. Why? Cage yourself? You are exaggerating. You're nuts. You are squandering your youth, time, and life. These whispers, however, sound like yours. Tests, enhanced techniques for breaking your will. It isn't just desire. You're resisting. It's the illusion of normalcy, the seduction of mediocrity, the gravitational pull back into a life that appears comfortable but deprives you of destiny. Even those closest to you, your family and friends, who love you in their own unique ways, will not understand. They will claim you have changed and are too secluded. You are too intense. You are fascinated. To them, your change appears insane. They can't see the wings developing beneath your skin. They can only see the cocoon tightening around you. But listen closely. Heaven does not call you insane. Heaven considers you sacrosanct. Heaven asks you to be set aside. And it is precisely at this point of misunderstanding that most selected ones fail. They cannot withstand the burden of mockery, the weight of loneliness, or the clamor of temptation. They take a step back, persuading themselves that it was too much, that it was best to fit in with the group. But those who persevere, those who walk through this inferno without succumbing to desire, societal pressure, or abandoning their greater calling, these are the ones that rise with authority that shakes the foundations. This is why your test is so intense, unrelenting, and unpleasant. It is not evidence of your weakness. It is proof of your potential. The more severe the temptation, the larger the destiny that awaits on the other side. The supreme test is not intended to reject your humanity. It's about mastering it. It is about demonstrating, God, that you are willing to steward the very energy that shapes the planet. Flesh desires relief, but the soul requires refining. And the battle between the two is the furnace that shapes the really anointed. Each time you say no, your affirmation of destiny gets louder in heaven. Each time you resist, you etch your name deeper into forever. But here's the unstated question. What prize awaits those who survive this difficult trail? What abilities are awakened in the souls that prove unshakable? Because if this exam is the ultimate, the prize must be beyond comprehension. And in the following revelation, you will discover what occurs when a chosen one refuses to submit and instead ascends to the realm of divine power. Something amazing begins to happen to individuals who face the tempest of temptation and refuse to bow even when the weight is terrible. Abstinence, previously viewed as a prison, presents itself as a master key, unlocking doors that most people would never know exist. The selected ones who pass the greatest test find themselves strolling in a dimension where ideas, language, and reality are no longer distinct. They're fused. What you believe starts to appear. What you proclaim starts to take shape. What you imagine in the solitude of your mind begins to manifest with horrifying precision. At first, it may surprise you. You picture a discussion, and hours later it plays out word for word. You feel an opportunity. The next day, it appears before your eyes. You invoke protection for yourself or your loved ones. And what may have been a calamity is unexpectedly transformed into safety. These aren't coincidences. These aren't accidents. These are God's fingerprints, proving that your formerly squandered energy is now flowing in perfect harmony with His will. Your abstinence was never about limitation. It was about preparing and cleaning the conduit so that His power might flow through you without hindrance. And this is when the change becomes clear. Your simple presence begins to influence the surroundings. When you go into a room, the vibe changes. People sense it, but can't define it. Some people are pulled to you, calmed by an invisible peace, as if their soul finds shelter in your energy. Others grow agitated, even aggressive, as the light you carry reveals the shadows they have been hiding. You're no longer just a human. You carry frequencies that upset the routine. Heaven rushes through you like a river, causing everything around you to react. Even your dreams no longer seem like dreams. These are blueprints. You wake up to realize that what you witnessed was not fantasy, but rather instruction. Night visions become prophetic roadmaps that direct you through decisions, relationships, and divine timing. And when you follow these steps, the doors swing open. That should have been locked. The impossible becomes a possibility for you. What others have sweated and bled for falls into your hands with an elegance that seems unjust to those watching. They do not realize that you have already paid the price. Your sacrifice of flesh was an investment in the spirit. But here's the most unexpected twist. You stop pursuing pleasure when pleasure starts chasing you. Opportunities, abundance, connections, and experiences that were previously unachievable begin circling your life like planets around a hot sun. It's as if the cosmos acknowledges your discipline and commits to your frequency. You're no longer begging for scraps. You command feasts. You no longer pray for open doors. You're traveling through wide-open gates because your cleaned and redirected energy requires recognition. This kind of power is not just personal, it's generational. The expressions of your life send external blessings. Those who are related to you, family cycles are broken. Curses make roads that had been blocked for decades suddenly clear, not just for you, but for everyone involved in your destiny. You understand that your abstinence was never only about your quest. It was about every soul related to your heritage. One selected discipline leads to the release of many others. However, this is not the end of the process. What you are experiencing right now is just the gates of heavenly power swinging open. But the question remains, what treasure, destiny, or infinite prosperity awaits behind those gates once they are fully opened? Because if the taste of authority is so overwhelming, what happens when you completely embrace your divine inheritance? That epiphany is coming, and it will upend everything you thought you understood about sacrifice, reward, and the ultimate definition of divine fullness. Here's the truth. The world wasn't supposed to tell you. You were never deprived. You were being prepped. Every night, you fought with stillness. Every instant, you felt the anguish of denial. Every sacrifice of flesh that caused a sense of loss was not punishment. It was a planting operation. What you saw as nothingness was actually a seed planted deep in the soil of eternity. And now, the harvest is starting to grow. Abstinence is never about subtracting. It's about multiplication. Heaven does not take without returning 1,000 times. The intimacy that awaits you in the future will not be like the superficial friendships of your past. It will not be a brief moment of flesh. It will be a divinely inspired union. Your body will not only contact another body. Your soul will merge with a soul created for you before time started. That closeness will be sacred, multiplied, impenetrable by desire, and precisely timed with heaven's will. When that day arrives, you'll understand that every second of waiting was worthwhile. Because what you obtain will not just satisfy, it will sanctify and transcend intimacy. Consider what God has genuinely prepared you for: unrivaled prosperity. Sacred love cannot be corrupted. Unstoppable purpose. Miracles that cannot be measured. What the world saw as a loss was actually refining. What they referred to as stupidity was your training. What they considered a weakness was actually your greatest strength. God used abstinence not to punish you, but to sharpen you, removing what was superficial so that He could entrust you with what is permanent. Do you know what this means? You were never left out while others drowned in fleeting joys. You were being chosen for eternal glory while others were wasting their time seeking approval. Yours was being kept, cleaned, and then returned to you as authority. You are entering a period in which your words hold power. Your presence has weight, and your destiny has an influence that no force of evil can overcome. This is the transaction in paradise. Temporary denial of eternal inheritance. Here's the stunning twist. Everything you thought you'd lost is back, however changed. Love will arrive, but it will be complete. Prosperity will arrive, but it will be unstoppable. Joy will arrive, but it will be unshakable. Even pleasure will return, but this time it will be hallowed, multiplied, and full of heavenly purpose. You did not go through abstinence to become empty. You went through abstinence to be filled in ways that the world cannot comprehend. This is why you had to endure. This explains why you were misunderstood. This is why you needed to walk alone, because the crown that God is going to bestow upon your head is not for the multitude. It is for the few who have persevered. Heaven calls it preparation, while the rest of the earth considers it loss. God sees abundance, although the world perceives absence. The world regarded you as lonely, but God recognized you as selected. And yet this is not the end, because if all of this was just preparation, the genuine question would be burning in front of you. Now, what happens when the chosen one truly embraces the destiny for which they were prepared? What happens when the one purified by fire finally receives the crown of glory? That answer is on its way, and it will challenge every notion you've ever had about who you are and what you're capable of becoming. You believed you were losing out, but God was preparing you for abundance. Silence, flames, and loneliness. It was never punishment. It was heavenly training. Every moment of struggle was shaping you into a vessel of unbreakable strength. And you're no longer who you were. You were picked. You're polished. You're unstoppable. From now on, you bear a mantle that only the rarest souls can bear. Heaven understands what you paid, even if the rest of the world does not. And heaven will openly reward the hidden sacrifice you made. Do not call it deprivation. Call it heavenly preparation. Because what is going to happen in your life will outweigh every sacrifice, tear, and sleep. You felt forgotten. You will not only taste blessings, but you will overflow with them. You will not only carry, but also embody your mission. Miracles promote holy love, wealth, and irresistible authority. These aren't faraway promises. They represent your future reality. And now, I'd like you to mark this occasion with a statement. Write in the comments, "I am ready for greatness." This is not simply a term. It is a spiritual covenant, indicating to heaven and yourself that you accept the mantle bestowed upon you. Say it openly and publicly. Let the entire universe know you're ready because the moment has arrived. You were set aside. You were tested. You were polished. And now you'll soar. You will shine. You will triumph. This is your awakening. This is your anointing. This is your triumph. And nothing will ever stop you again.